we're gonna run into. Oh my god, I have a bear situation. One
Oh,
second, let me deal
a
with this
bear
bear.
sitch.
So we've got an angry bear. We can fight the bear, or we can just grab this ammo. I mean, I don't know why I would fight the bear. I just want to grab ammo.
Right, yeah. It seems like
Uh,
the more dangerous option by
oh, but
far.
we're abandoning the camp if we don't fight him.
Ah, I got it. So FTL, after a while, you could kind of just stop reading a lot
Yeah.
of the text and just read the options.
Oh
And
my
this, it seems
god,
like,
everyone died.
holy shit, the whole party.
The whole party died. That's
Yikes.
okay. Hello, everyone, and we are about to jump into Death Road to Canada, and I've got Nick Robinson on the line joining me to walk
Hey,
me
Russ.
through. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Good. I have not seen this game yet, so I'm kind of excited to go in very blind.
Okay, do you know anything about it?
Barely. I know that it's the same developer who's been working on another game that I'm looking forward to called Dad by the Sword, which I got a
Yes.
really early build of, but this I have not played at all. You mentioned FTL, which immediately piqued my interest.
Yeah, the best way I can describe it is sort of like FTL meets zombies.
Okay.
And so in this case, we're just going across the country, eventually trying to make it to Canada, which is apparently safe and free of zombies. And while we're doing that, we're dealing with random encounters. In this case, I'm fighting a horde. This is a siege area where essentially you just have to survive, and it's kind of pretty straightforward. It's one of the
Yeah.
least interesting encounters in the game. But we're gonna see some moments where you have to basically decide, like, hey, do you befriend this guy? Do you steal from these people? Whatever. While we're in these siege moments, I can actually try to, if my buddies would help me out here, I can try to steal some gas.
Oh yeah, I saw that pop up. So
yeah.
there is. I actually didn't realize there was like there's like a combat component. To
Oh,
this game.
it's a large combat component. So unlike FTL, which is obviously has combat, but it feels almost turn-based. This feels closer like Diablo in the combat.
Yeah. Does it feel good? Like, is it fun to play the combat, or is it
It's
just kind
a
of
little loose. It takes some getting used to.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like super standout. I get more enjoyment out of like making the decisions throughout the like adventure.
Gotcha.
But
But
it's fun.
serviceable.
It's totally serviceable, yes.
Right.
So the siege is over. So this is just a time thing. We can now escape from this area. We collected a little bit of gas. We might get a boost in morale from that. I want to walk back to the road.
Got it. So you could, if you wanted to, stay in that situation a little longer and get more supplies.
Yeah, but there's not really... Zombies generally don't drop anything, so really there's not really an encouragement to stay in places once you've looted everything. So you get some little dialogue here. So everyone's super thrilled that they beat that siege encounter, so we get to pick a perk, essentially. So we can boost a variety of different things here. What do you think we should boost? Morale?
I guess I guess I don't know. Morale or shooting? I would love to see. So there is shooting in this game.
There is
too?
shooting. Bullets are kind of a limited. We'll give Rick some more shooting, and I'll show you some of the
Alright.
stat pages and what that means.
Is that
So-
Rick from Rick and Morty?
So I'll explain as well. There is a full character creator system in here.
Oh,
So I actually
alright.
made a bunch of characters from Rick and Morty that we might see throughout the playthrough. Okay, so it seems that we found a house. Should we have someone barricade it, or should we
Ooh.
just stay on watch all night? Now, if we stay on watch, that's going to hurt our morale, so that's not
Because
good.
you won't be sleeping, right?
Exactly.
Huh. So what? Just as a new player, does that question mark thing in the corner just kind of give you explanations of like different choices you can make?
Yeah, I mean it varies depending on the encounter. So in this case, let's give it a shot. So we're gonna stay on watch all night.
All right.
And we lost a bunch of food, but
Ah.
it went okay. Like we didn't
Gotcha.
have
But
any
the
situations.
Oh, sorry, I meant in the upper right. There's that
Oh,
question
sorry.
mark thing. So that'll just sort of explain like.
Yeah, so actually this is all about the status menu, which
got it.
is very overwhelming. It took me like a minute to figure it out. So let me do one more encounter and then we'll jump into that and
Okay.
make it a little more clear. So you can see all these like increases in stats, his medical increases. So everyone that you meet has skills, and when you first meet them, you have no idea what they're good at, and it actually requires them to like use one of their skills before you know. So in this case, he's getting better at medical. So we want, in this case, so our car is broken down. That's a drag. So we want someone that's good at mechanics. So we can
Right.
pull open our status menu. And let's see, this guy has like a frowny face next to mechanical, drag.
Right.
Oh, this guy's super happy about mechanics,
I like
mechanical.
that they almost have like, it reminds me like I love that it's a smiley face, like your mood.
Oh, yeah.
Of your skills.
It's
It's like
fantastic.
almost a Tamagotchi vibe or
Well,
something.
and they do go up and down. Like obviously, morale goes up and down based on happy face, and sometimes you'll get like hit in the head and lose some stats.
So it looks like Rashawn is the happiest mechanic.
Yeah, Rashawn is super wicked at fixing the car. So let's have him do that. Attempt to fix it, and he easily repairs. Piece of cake.
I wonder what the punch of the car option would have done.
Yeah, I think that's more like a luck roll. Like it's not going to determine his skills.
So if if you don't have anyone who's good at vehicle repair or mechanics, for example, you can just have them punch the car and then maybe it'll start working.
Right, exactly.
So we got a yelling man here.
We've got a yelling man. We can have Rick say it, don't spray it, which seems like a very Rick thing to say.
Yeah.
Or Rashawn's more thoughtful, or we could fight him, or we could run away.
I think we got to go with Rick's option.
Yes, I think so.
So on brand.
It really is. Wow.
Oh, we got a heckler.
Yeah, we got a heckler, and it's really insightful, and it really destroys Rick's morale.
Yeah, and it looks like it revealed some of his attributes you didn't know about before.
Exactly. So if you have status changes in any of the perks, because even negative or positive, it doesn't matter, you'll find out what his deal is. Unfortunately, we've run out of gas, so we're walking now. And when you have to walk, you go a lot slower, obviously, and there's a lot of problems. Like this one, for example, we've been ambushed by bandits. Rick can say some obnoxious things.
As his last words.
We can fight, or we can give all the weapons and supplies.
Oh, man. What's your instinct? Having played the game before, what would you say?
So I would refuse and fight in this scenario. We've got 3 people. We've got some gear. Let's see how it goes. Take 'em. So everyone got hurt, but we're alive. So that's okay. And now we're about to jump into another combat thing. Now this is near sunset. The zombies get more and more pissed off as the day goes on.
Yeah.
And these guys are hurting pretty good, but we do have a lot of med packs. So let's jump in, and then I'll jump into the inventory system on our next thing. So usually when you go into these environments, you're looking out for anything that blinks. We've got some gas here. We picked up some shotgun shells. And you're just kind of like looking for stuff that'll be of use.
Right.
If you're on foot, these areas get a lot bigger because you have to actually get through them to escape to the next spot. And it seems that I've broken my weapon. And I have nothing else. So I have a fist I can use.
And you're just leaving a trail of blood. And is that sweat? What's coming off of you there?
So there's a Dark Souls style stamina system. And your perks can actually increase that. And your stats can increase that. But if you punch too much, you'll get weak and you won't be able to punch anymore. Okay, we made it back to the road. That was close. We're not doing great health-wise. I'm hoping that someone will heal us up.
I like this sort of hyper-pixelated photograph that they've included here.
It's kind of a Oregon Trail throwback, I think.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of that from this too. So did you play a lot of FTL?
I did. I put a ton of FTL.
It's something that maybe it only, I think this might be something that people who have played dozens and dozens and dozens of games of FTL notice, but over the course of playing that game, it starts to feel like the arc of each game of FTL is pretty familiar. Like, you kind of know what's going to happen. Nothing too crazy is going to happen, but, I've seen things happen in this playthrough that are, pretty drastic. Do you feel like there's more variance here?
We're going to run into, oh my god, I have a bear situation. One second, let me deal with this bear. So we've got an angry bear. We can fight the bear, or we can just grab this ammo. I mean, I don't know why I would fight the bear. I just want to grab ammo.
Right, yeah. It seems like the more dangerous option by
far.
Oh,
but we're abandoning the camp if we don't fight him.
I got it. So FTL, after a while, you could kind of just stop reading a lot of the text and just read the options.
Oh my god, everyone died.
Holy shit. The whole party.
The whole party died. That's okay. That's what these games are about. We'll start from scratch. Brutal.
Right. So about how long does each run last?
So I haven't gotten to Canada. It takes 15 driving days in game to make it to Canada. And I haven't made it there yet. So far, the longest I've made is 3 days left to Canada. So these are some of the Rick and Morty characters I made.
Oh, nice.
And
you had to take some creative liberties to interpret Mr. Poopy Butthole as a character with this game's system.
Yeah, it was pretty tricky. There's no also Combropulus Michael was a real challenge as well. It's just humans that you can make.
Did Mr. Mises make it in, or?
No, I haven't made him yet, but he would also, I would imagine, be a challenge. Something cool about these characters, though, you can see they have perks. So you can actually... So I made Combropulus Michael a rifle shooter and a bandit. and those perks have like passive impacts on their skills and what they start with and stuff like that.
What is that? So does the share button let you like put them in this big bank and download other people's
Yeah, so
characters?
you're supposed to be able to download other people. I've not used this button, so it might totally crash the game because this is an early build.
Oh,
But
okay.
as the idea is you would be able to load in other people's creations, which is very, very cool. So we're going to go back and yeah, but the custom character creator aspect is really neat. Let's go back and we'll start a new game. There's a few different game modes. Mostly they're just getting harder. So this is just normal.
So Lauren is a car nut. Was one of this characters.
Yes, so car nuts generally are better at mechanical issues, stuff like that. And you're heading from Florida this time to make it to Canada. So let's hit the road. Different cars, by the way. This is a bug. I've seen like 4 or 5 different vehicles. And now we have a choice. So we've got a house that looks pretty quiet, but there are shapes lurching inside. So I think.
Do you think there's a chance that it's like good people in there?
It might be. It might be.
Okay.
There are generally that's so far I've seen that's called out as like, hey, inside this house there's like a sign outside like rescue me. But
got it.
sometimes I would imagine sometimes there are just like normal survivors fighting it out in there. I found dogs. A dog joined my party earlier, which was really handy. So we found some food there. And all these resources, similar to FTL, basically allow you to keep going. Like if you run out of food, morale drops really quickly, and then you basically can't do anything. So it's just about managing the risk of like going into an environment and potentially losing someone in favor of looting stuff.
It seems like an important thing for a game like this would be like the balance of making sure that like each combat environment isn't going to kill everyone, but also that there's some risk that someone will die, otherwise it's not very tense. Do you feel like they've struck a good balance of that? Like
it gets really hairy towards like if you're invading an environment later on in the day.
Yeah.
It gets super, super hairy. So there have definitely been times where I'm like, oh, I am totally outnumbered and I need to run away. I mean, you have options. Like, you don't have to go through each environment if you feel like you're outmatched. But, yeah, early on, it's very manageable and slow. As you can see here, there's barely any enemies, and we can just loot with reckless abandon. You were asking about, like, variances, things that change dramatically.
Right,
and one thing, I don't know if we're going to see it in this playthrough, but my first playthrough, a Valkyrie came down from the sky and joined my party and had like a Thor style hammer that she was throwing. So apparently there are these like legendary characters that have a chance to join your party, which is really cool. So we have
and that was just a completely random thing.
totally random thing that happened. I didn't do anything to cause it. It was just like a random encounter. We have a moose apparently is attacked and someone is injured. So let's see if we have anyone that's good at medicine. We probably don't know. So this is going to be good, actually. So we're going to try to trade it just for shits. And hopefully that'll reveal whether Cody is any good at medicine. Apparently terrible at medicine, and it did not reveal Cody's stats. So that's a drag. We have another choice here, hardware store, grocery store. So in these circumstances, we want to look. We've got some food. We've got 8 food, which is not bad in this situation. So maybe we'll hit up the hardware store. Get some weapons maybe. And this, if we add more weapons, you can basically change your loadout and equip folks with different things. So let's check out the hardware store and see what we got. Oh boy. You can actually leave people in the car if they're weak or whatever, and they'll guard your supplies a little bit better, which is neat. So we're heading into the hardware store here. You can also make anyone the leader. You don't have to play as the character I'm playing as. At any time, you can switch it up and directly control anyone that's in your party, which is a nice touch.
if the person you kind of were using as your protagonist was wounded,
Nicholas, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
a chainsaw.
we seem to have found a chainsaw,
Oh man,
which I have not seen before, and it is pretty damn good.
that's about as effective as I hoped.
Yes. I don't know how long it'll last, but it's very satisfying.
And so I'm noticing one of your party members also has a shotgun, so you guys are pretty stacked right now.
Yeah, we're doing okay. Oh, so it seems
It
like
uses gas.
Yeah, it uses gas. So that's an interesting balance point. I had not seen that before, using a variety of different things. Most of these houses are empty and don't have a lot of interesting stuff. So let's hit the road again.
This seems pretty cool. I'm
digging it.
Is it what platforms is this for?
So it's coming out on PC.
Okay.
I think a Mac version is planned and the Linux version is planned, but it's definitely coming out on PC, and it's planned to launch later this month, later this May. So that's pretty dope. Let's
Rad.
see.
Are you playing with a controller?
Yeah, so I'm using a controller here. There is controller support. I had to remap some of the buttons. That they'll probably get fixed in the final version, but you can use a keyboard or a controller. Controller, I think, is probably the best way to do it.
Or yeah, it seems like I love FTL so much, but there were moments in FTL where I was like, I wish I had more choices or like more variants, I guess.
Yeah.
And this seems to have a ton of that, which is
Yeah,
really cool.
it's hard to say because again, I just started playing a little while ago, so it's hard to
Yeah.
say just how random it is. But again, like crazy random characters that show up out of nowhere.
Right, that would never happen in
seems-
FTL.
Right, yeah. Or if it did, it would always happen in a very set circumstance.
Totally.
Oh my
this
God.
is cool.
Yeah, I
A
dig it.
deer.
There's
Run
a
the deer
deer.
over.
Oh, Nicholas. Awful. Yeah, okay. Why not? Hey, we got some food. Deer gave us food. Yeah, so that's Death Road to Canada. Super, super fun. I dig it a lot.
Awesome. Thank you for showing me.
No problem.